Hey everyone, this is going to be a video of a van tour of my 2013 Mercedes Sprinter van conversion. This vehicle is also for sale, so if you're interested in purchasing it, stick around to the very end and I'll go into more detail about some of the mechanical of the van. But first we'll start off with the van tour, so if you guys are building your own van, you can get some ideas for yourself. This vehicle was created to be a full-time van, full-time living, so it has lots of storage. I also wanted it to be off-grid, so I have lots of solar and batteries, so you can be full-time off-grid, as well as ample water storage. And it's also winterized since I do a lot of snowboarding and skiing, so that was important to me as well. So we'll start off with the outside and then work our way in. So here we have some BFG KO2 tires. So this gives you great mud and snow performance for doing some light off-road trails. So that was important to me. Up top over here we have an ARB awning. So later on in the video I'll set this up for you guys and show you what that looks like, but that's great when you're just hanging out the campsite and want some shade. Coming around over here we have running boards, so it's easy to get in and out for the passengers on this side. And this is actually a little hammock chair mount, which I'll show you a little bit later. Working our way to the front. Nothing exciting here, just your standard Mercedes Sprinter. Alright, coming around to the driver's side. Right down here we have our exhaust outlet for the diesel heater, Aspire diesel heater. So it's on the driver's side, so that way the fumes aren't near the passenger door where you're entering and exiting. So now working our way around the side of the van. Right over here we have our power inlet, so you can charge the batteries. This is just your standard 15 amp, and I have an adapter, so if you get to an RV site with a 30 amp, you can hook that up. The rims were repainted, so this is completely sandblasted and stripped down, and then using a heavy-duty wheel paint, so you should hold up nicely. Coming around to the back here. So this has got a class 3 tow hitch, and it has a 5,000 pound towing capacity, and also your 4-pin trailer hookup over there. And we'll go a little bit more detail into the garage later, but just a little sneak preview here. So going along with the adventure theme, this has space for 2 full-size 29-inch mountain bikes. And we'll look at this a little bit more towards the middle of the video. Up top we have, oh, actually forgot about something here. So this is a rear view camera, so you can see where you're going when you back up. Very important with the van this size. Up top you can't see it, but there's 2 200-watt solar panels, so 400 watts total. And there's also a camera on the front as well, so you can look forward when you're parking the thing. Coming out to the side, before we get there, this is one of my favorite features of the van. It's a table for outdoors over here, so when you're at the campsite just hanging out, you can cook out here, which is actually where I prefer to do most of my cooking. This induction cooktop here with the little outlet, so it's nice to be outside. You can set your things on the table over here and just enjoy the outdoors. There's also a nice large surface area. For filling up the water tank, it's right here, so you just hook up a standard hose faucet and you can fill up the water tank. Alright, working our way inside. The light switches is right at the entrance, so full LED dimming lights. Coming up over here, so it's important to be able to take some friends on trips, so I didn't want to have a big bench seat that's just going to block up the entire van. So what I found is this 2-person fold-away bench seat. So let's see if I can do this with one hand here. Bear with me. So you just unlatch that, comes down and locks out, and then there's a second lever. This guy over here. This comes up. So now you have 2 more seats over here with seat belts. So that's a nice little feature. And when you're all done with it, it just folds up nice and easy. Like that. Out of the way, so. And this also gives you a nice space for the shower, which I'll show you a little bit later. So coming up here, above the cabin, we have a overhead storage shelf. And this is where I keep all of the insulated and reflective blackout curtains and window covers. So we'll set that up a little bit later and show you, but this is nice and out of the way over here, all in one place. So this is the van over here. Underneath this section here, what we have is our shower mixer. I'll set that up a little bit later, but it's a quick connect with hot and cold water. And also, it pulls out just like this. So So we actually haven't used this yet. Most of our campsites have been have running bathrooms, so we haven't needed it yet, but definitely nice to have, especially if you're gonna be living in here full time. So this is a cassette toilet, so you just unmount this one, you can take it and dump it, and it has also like a little flush tank too. So in the kitchen area over here, and this top sliding drawer, we have our induction cooktop. So the whole van, I didn't want to have propane in here to keep it safe. So this is all electric. So you just plug this in over here, and now you're able to cook. And you can also set this down over here, as well as a cutting board. So a nice little storage place for that. Having a microwave is just so convenient. You know, when you get to the campsite light, you just want to heat something up. So this is an RV microwave with the proper vents, so it's safe. And over here we have our trash can. So nice and simple, perfect size. Also, there's a fire extinguisher back here as well, so you know, just in case. Having a full-size sink is super nice if you're going to be living here often. So this is actually larger than our sink at home, which is, you're kind of jealous of, as well as a full-size kitchen faucet with extension. So we have dish soap here built in, as well as hand soap. Let me just turn on the water pump, which is right here. So the water pump just kicked on, and full running water. Super nice. So underneath here, we have two options for water tanks. So to be winterized, I have a 5-gallon internal water tank, so that way the water doesn't freeze over, and if you go to the snow and do some ski trips or anything like that, then you don't have to worry about the freezing of the water. And there's two valves here, and what you can do is switch this to the external water tank, and we'll show you that at the end of the video. But I have a 15-gallon external water tank as well, and lots of storage over here for extra stuff. Underneath the bench seat here is the stowaway shower, which I'll set up a little bit later, as well as a 21-gallon fresh water tank with a level sensor here, so you can see what the level is. And underneath is the water pump with the accumulator, so 12-volt water pump. So let's work our way over to this side. So up overhead we have a full-length cabinet, so this spans the entire length of the van. I forgot to mention, but the whole interior is built with these 80/20 aluminum extrusions. So these are extremely lightweight, very strong. So it's, I think, the best thing to use for these van builds. Keeps the vehicle as light as possible and is very sturdy. So lots of storage up here, way more than I've ever needed for even 4 people for a week-long trip. Everything has these locking latches here, as well as the hood struts. Over here, this is the electrical control center. So here we have the iDash. This will show you the water level, as well as the temperature, other things such as that. There's a RGB LED strip here, so kind of just for the cool factor. If you want to show off to your friends, you know, change the color, do the there's a party mode there. Water pump switch, Victron battery controller here, or battery monitor system. So Bluetooth as well, so you can just set it up with your phone and monitor everything. This is really handy to have. Up top here we have our S-Bar diesel heater. So I went with the authentic S-Bar, which is the German company. Quite a bit more expensive, but these guys have been around for a long time and very reliable, unlike those Chinese knockoffs. So this thing keeps you extremely warm. It's one of the best modifications to the van. I highly recommend it if you're considering building one yourself. So we've camped in, you know, freezing temperatures, and this thing has kept us warm all night without any issues. Speaking of that, so for insulation on the van, I wanted to keep it very insulated, so you don't have to waste a lot of energy. So when it's hot over the summer, you can keep it cool. When it's cool at night, you don't have to waste a lot of diesel heat. So on the ceiling, we have 2 inches of rigid board memory foam, which is some of the best insulation material. And then on top of that is this cedar planking with flush LED lights. Up against the walls, everything is lined with 3 to 4 inches of synthetic wool insulation. I believe it's Rockwell insulation, so that's all along the outside. On the floor is another 1 inch thick of the rigid foam insulation, and then on top of that we have this home grade laminate waterproof flooring. So, and then also for insulation, all of these covers over here are reflective on the outside, as well as have a layer of insulate, so that will keep the van nice and warm at night. Here we have our solar charge controller. So 400 watts of solar on top. This is the brains that kind of controls that. Sends it down to the batteries. And then here is just a fuse panel with easy access. And then this button here is the inverter switch. So this will turn on all of the 110 volt outlets in the van. Moving on, all the cabinets up here, these are all empty right now, but you know, much of the same. All locking, lots of storage. This is where we're going to keep all of our clothes, was the plan. So now over here to this box. So up top we have a large compartment here with a hood strut. So a lot more storage. Very important if you're going to be living here full time, or if you just want to keep it packed up for camping 24/7. All the countertops are butcher block, which are epoxy coating. So very high quality to look, nice finish to the place, to the van, and kind of one of the things that pops out the most to people when they see this. Underneath that, let's switch sides here, we have our fridge. So this is a 12 volt fridge, which runs straight off the battery, very efficient. And I think it's a 58 quart, I believe, so nice and large. It could be a fridge or a freezer. So this holds enough space for groceries for at least a full week for 2 of us. And it really takes any batteries, so this works great. Slides away, and it's locking here, as well as has the vent for the heat. And moving on over here is a series of drawers. This is where we keep all of our utensils up top over here. And then these can be used for whatever you want. They're all full extension slides, ball bearing, all locking. So lots and lots of storage options over here. And then the bottom one is a little bit deeper than the rest, so that will hold pots and pans. And I've included an induction pan with the van, so that way you can cook right away, and some plates. So moving on over here to this bench seat is where all the electrical battery system is at. So this is some of the fuses, the relays, the 24 to 12 volt converter, things of that nature. Over here we have a full 110 amp breaker system. So this is a circuit breaker for all of the 110 amp circuits. And then underneath we have 2 Battle-Born batteries. So these are lithium ion, some of the best rated in the industry. Pretty pricey, but you know, worth every penny. So 200 amp hours total of lithium battery is plenty for what we do, especially with 400 watts of solar. We typically don't need to charge it up before we leave, and this will last us a full week without any issues, even while cooking full time with induction. So moving on to this area over here, the bed is a Cal King. So I'm a little tall, a little over 6 feet, so having a nice big long bed is very important. This bed is actually softer than what we have at home, so I love this thing. I always sleep great on our camping trips. And it actually has an extension over here, which I'll pull out in a little bit. So the bed extends out another about 18 inches, and that's so it doesn't take up all that space in the van, and you have more space to walk around, because if not, the bed will come up to here 24/7. So that stows away when you don't need it, and you can just pull it out at night when you're ready to sleep. Underneath that, we have our kitchen table. So this is a heavy-duty door slide with the same epoxy-coated butcher block countertop, and perfect for you and your significant other to have a nice dinner while you're camping. And you can even use this area for holding all your extra stuff. Underneath that, these are extremely large drawers, 4 of them, all the same size, but these go way back and give you tons and tons of storage. Same heavy-duty ball-bearing drawer slides. This has all of the manuals and things for everything in the van, so it's all right there. And these are all the same, but just very, very large storage solutions. All right, so these were intended to be cushions, but the first time when I bought the foam mattress, I think it was a 4-inch thick one, and it wasn't quite thick enough, so we added a memory foam topper on top. But when I did that, these cushions became too tall. So they were intended to be nice cushions here, but now it's kind of like a booster seat. It's a little bit too tall, but you can store them there kind of out of the way. And this is what is the extra bed extension when you're ready to go to put it into bed mode. So why don't I set it up right now and show you. All right, so hopefully you guys can see everything okay, but all you do to set up the bed is you lift this up, pull off this wood piece over here. This is just an aluminum extrusion, so it's super light. You set it up on top over here. There's some little alignment pieces, so it'll lock into place, just like that. Nice and sturdy platform. So then you pull out the bedding over here, grab your two pillows. This one goes up in this corner, and just slide it over. The other large one will go up in the other corner. And then this last piece, you just kind of squeeze in between the two. So just like that. So now you have a full cowl king bed that doesn't take up too much space in the van. I forgot to mention, one of the best things about this van is it's a passenger van, which means that you have full 360-degree panoramic windows all the way around the van. So that's a big selling feature for me when I picked this thing up, is if I bought the cargo van and I had to cut out a bunch of windows, they're usually going to be smaller. That's a big hassle, but this thing, when you're at this campsite, you know, you can see out into nature, and it's just super awesome. It makes it feel a lot more spacious. See, up top over here, we have a skylight, so let light in during the day, and I have a blackout curtain for that as well. And two Maxwell fans, so 12-volt fans with a vent. It's adjustable for speed, and you can also change the direction. And over here on the back, we have another fan. So this is great because you can put it in push-pull mode. So what we usually do at night is I set this one out to blow down right on top of us while we're sleeping. And then this one over here is in pull mode, so it'll suck the air coming out from this fan out here and blow it out. So there's nice circulation in the van that keeps everything really cool. So one thing I forgot to mention is outlets. So quite a few outlets over here, and here's one that we use for the kitchen. It also has two USB ports so you can charge up any of your other devices. Working our way back over here into the bed, we have this guy over here, which is another 2-port outlet along with two USB and a Type-C. So this is good for charging laptops and other things like that. And it's right next to the bed, so that's where we charge our phones at night. And then back in the garage, there's another power outlet, as well as one on the exterior of the vehicle. So now let's go over the shower system. So for the shower, I really wanted to be able to shower, you know, just in case when it's, you know, take a long hike and it's sweaty, but I didn't want it to take up all the space in the van when you have a full-time fixed shower. So the solution was a stowaway shower. So this makes it, gives you kind of the best of both worlds, where if you really need it, you can use it, but when you don't, it doesn't really take up any space. Sorry, this is kind of hard to do with one hand here. All right, I'm gonna set the camera down. Okay, so here's the shower. Very simple, but very effective. So what we have is just essentially a kiddie pool that expands out over here. And then on the side, I have a valve and a hose that you hook up to the gray water tank. So that way you can drain it. So this just sets up in this little section right here that isn't really used for much. And then now I'll set up the shower curtain, which is attached with a series of these magnets that are on the ceiling. So that way it just clips up there without any hangers or anything kind of blocking your way. So let me set that up right now. Alright, so that's how it looks like when it's set up. So just a series of these very strong magnets over here that fold it all up. And then now let me sneak around to this side. To show you, over here we have the storage. So this is what we use to connect up to here and drain it after. And then over here is also the pipes. So when we open up this cabinet on this side, down here is a quick connect fitting. So you just align this, turn it. Now you have hot and cold water. Forgot to mention, but there's a water heater on here. So a Bosch 5-gallon electric water heater. So you pretty much have hot water on demand, and the solar will keep that nice and warm. So after that, you have, you know, running water. You can also use this to like wash off bikes and snowboards after you do your activities. So how this works is I just kind of sink this down in here, and you hop in. Pretty spacious inside. I'm 6'2", and I actually have clearance, so you can kind of use this little skylight as extra space. But so yeah, now you just grab the hose and kind of give yourself a shower. Okay, so now I'll show you how to set up the window curtains and the blackout feature. Just looks super nice when you want to sleep in. So I'll close this, and I'll take all these down and I'll set up the camera so you guys can see this setup.
Yeah.
Alright, so now we're all set up with the curtains. So the ones, some of them have magnets here that just basically click onto the metal. So just like these guys right here, super easy. And then the rest of them, they just are the perfect size to fit right up against the frame here. So you just kind of lay it right in there. And now, if we turn off the lights, it's going to get dark in here. So my phone light's on, but pretty much it's pitch black in here. Let me turn off the cell phone light so you can really see what... Alright, so now the phone light's off and you can see that it's just about pitch black in here. So super great if you want to sleep in, which we want to do all the time. You know, when we're camping on the weekend, it's vacation for us. So sometimes it's nice waking up with the sun, but sometimes you just want to fully sleep in. So these curtains do the job for blacking out the light. If you're at like sleeping in a Walmart parking lot or something like that, you want some privacy and security, these will keep it so no one can see what's going on inside. And they're also insulated, so reflective on the outside and insulate as well, so they'll keep you know, the heat in or the cold out. So okay, so now let's go over just some of the features up here in the front. So this has two I-128s, which are digital gauges. Super nice to keep an eye on your temperatures and all your ECU data, so you can maintain your coolant temperatures, oil temperatures, things of that nature. So I also have a Pioneer radio, which has CarPlay and Android Auto, so that way I just set my phone up, hook it up over here with Google Maps, and you can show all your directions and your Spotify, iTunes, whatever else over here. So super convenient. The backup camera over here, we have two switches. The right one turns on the backup camera, so once you do that, that's on. So now we're in reverse, and then if you flip this switch over here, it'll switch it to the front. So just like that, you have backup and front-facing camera, which is kind of nice because this thing sticks out kind of far, so you really want to get up close against something. And then you can also turn them both off and just have your CarPlay. So a few last items for the interior. On the passenger side, I have a swivel seat. So you can turn this around and, you know, have someone hang out in the front. Kind of opens up this space a little bit. Also helps out with the shower as well, gives a little more room. And right down below it, this is where the diesel heater is. It's right underneath the seat here. And then this is the vent that blows out the hot air. Alright, so now let's do the garage tour. So lots and lots of space. I've set the bed up high enough to get a full-size mountain bike. This is a 29-inch wheel mountain bike. Should be enough space in there to fit two. I only have one since I'm the only person that rides. My wife doesn't. So this is on the full extension slide. I'll pull it out in a second here. Next to it, I have a perfect little space here for a large folding table. So great when you're having an event with friends, you can pull that out and have a lot of space. Tucked in behind that, there's some safety items for safety cones and stuff like that. This is a cable that you can pull out and bring it outside the vehicle and close the door, so you have power outside. Two more outlets over here with USB. So up top I have a perfect size cubby. So this was all designed in SolidWorks using CAD. So I kind of designed everything around a particular set of items that I wanted and made sure everything fit perfectly. So it's pretty much like Tetris, but there's a space for everything and everything's in its place. So 27-gallon tote over here. So pull this out. Lots of storage. So the van comes with all these items. This is for the gray water tank. It's got a set of brand new chains. So in SoCal, you're required to carry those with you anytime you go up in the mountains. So even though you have all-terrain tires, you have to keep changed just in case. And then these are leveling blocks, so that way you can, if you're parked on a slight hill, you can get the van a little bit more level. So right behind that, we have a 900-watt propane inverter. Propane's nice because propane stores very well, and you don't have to worry about gasoline fumes and all that kind of stuff. And it also, the fuel doesn't expire. So this is kind of just a backup in case I run out of batteries when I'm out boondocking with no electricity. Haven't really had that happen. I've only used this once just to make sure it works, but you know, just in case you need it, it's always safe to be prepared. So that guy sits right back there, stores behind the container. Over on this side, Easy Up isn't included, but just showing you that this Easy Up fits perfectly in this little nook over here. In the back, you can see the Bosch diesel water heater, so that's where it's set up. Over here, these are some hammock chairs that I'll set up in a little bit. And there's also a outside rinse shower. So, you know, if you're mountain biking, you want to rinse off everything, you can just use this guy right here. Hot and cold water as well. So if you want to take an outside shower, I've seen people set up kind of a curtain across the two doors and set up a shower out here. So it's pretty much ready to go for that kind of stuff. Underneath, nice to have the campsite, or trash can campsite, so I use this. Just convenient. For the awning, it's pretty important to have a ladder, so this is where you help set up the awning. And over here we have the stuff for the two-person hammock chair. I'll set that up in a second as well. But if you wanted to, you can take that out and, you know, use all this storage space for other things as well. So this is what the bike storage system looks like when you pull it out. So it pulls out so you can load your bike up easily. The tire sits right there, and then there's a hook in the back for the rear tire. And it just uses these kind of standard clamps up front to hold that down. And there's also two lights up here that are motion detected, or you can just turn them on and off. And these are nice because they're on magnets, so at night you can grab this, you know, search around for what you're looking for. And then when you're all done, just slap it up there like that. So I forgot to mention it, but this is where the Victron charge controller is. So this is the Multi-Plus 3000 watt, which if you kind of do research on RV systems, this is probably one of the top of the lines, and super nice unit. 24 volts because I have the battery set up for 24 volts. And this handles all of the charging, so when you have a AC inlet into the fan, it'll charge the batteries from there, and it also handles the inverter. So 3000 watts is roughly enough to run two full-size kitchen appliances, so pretty much anything you can ever think of, as well as a very large air conditioning as well if you wanted to do that. So this is where it's set up over here. And finally over here, this is the 15-gallon gray water tank. So this is on wheels. And this is what I set up when I'm going to be at the campsite for the first time. So I'm just there for a day. I'll usually use the in-house 5-gallon. But if I'm going to be there longer, I'll set this up since it holds a lot more water. And how this works, it's right underneath here. There's a water hose, and that's where the sink drains out to. So you just set this up right underneath that hose, and it drains straight into here. When this is all filled up, you put the cap back on, and you just roll it over to the water dump station, and you just dump it out, or you find a nice tree to dump it out to, so that way you're not, you know, draining water all over your campsite. So keeps it nice and contained. I'm going to try to set up the awning with one person. Easier said than done. Usually two helps a lot, but let's give this a go.
Yeah.
Alright, so there we go. Not too bad. I kind of forgot the sequence at one point in the middle there, so definitely doable with one person. Easier with two. If it's not too windy, you can just kind of do it like that. If not, there's a guy rope so you can anchor it down. 2 hammock chairs, perfectly underneath the awning. So there is a trailer hitch that I've welded up a bracket to and then bolted into the frame. And then this jack kind of supports the front end over here. So put that underneath, jack it up till it's even, and then we've had 2 people in these hammock chairs, supports them just fine. So if you guys are still here, thanks for sticking around and watching the whole video. Hopefully you guys learned something. I know that when I was researching to build this van myself, I kind of just watched all the YouTube videos I could find and stole bits and pieces from everyone's build. So, you know, hopefully you can take away something from this one as well. So if you're interested in purchasing this vehicle, look for a second video that will go into more details about some of the mechanical aspects of the van.